down and heads up, because The View is live. Could this woman end the Trump presidency before it begins? Candidate Dr. Jill Stein is live in Hot Topics to reveal if her recount could change history. Plus, Mariah's bizarre diet, the only 2 foods she eats to stay in shape. Will the ladies find this hard to swallow? And red hot designer Tom Ford tells the ladies why he wouldn't dress Melania Trump or Hillary Clinton. Hump Day Hot Topics are here with Whoopi, Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, and Jedediah Bila. Now, let's get things started.
President-elect Donald Trump sat down to dinner last night with his former bitter rival Mitt Romney, who apparently is now on the short list to be Secretary of State. Now, during the, pre-days before he was elected, to be the president-elect, Romney had some not some nice things to say about him, and they were talking down to each other. So are they now going to be able to break bread and blend and become like one?
This is why people hate politicians. I mean, I look at this and I just sit back and I say, are you all just a bunch of phonies? Because you count on these politicians, you listen to them. I listened to Mitt Romney come out, he questioned Donald Trump's character. People who were supporting him at the time said, oh, this is a guy who agrees with me, who is standing up for what I think, who's standing up for America against Donald Trump. And now all of a sudden he's best buddies. Why? Because you want a job? Because you think it's going to help your career?
Well, don't forget that Obama and Hillary Clinton were also enemies when they were running against each other, and then she became a Secretary of State. So that's what happened.
But did you see, though, I didn't feel like they had that level of character attacks where Romney was coming out and saying, this is a guy who you'd have to be worried about. He's a fraud. I mean, someone can't be a fraud one day and your best friend the next day.
I think the other notion, though, that is interesting is sort of the Abraham Lincoln notion, right, of the team of rivals. And we know that Abraham Lincoln ran against several people. He won, and one of them became his Secretary of State, Seward, and 3 of them were in his cabinet. And I think, it could be a good thing that Donald Trump is at least considering people that have been pretty aggressive in their criticism of him. I mean, Mitt Romney said that his leadership would lead to a recession and trickle-down racicism.
Right,
and so if he's considering someone
Romney
like that as a Secretary of State, I think could speak to his character.
There's a couple ways to look at it. The way Jedediah did, or you could look at it, is to affect change, you have to be in the room. And a Hamilton reference, be in the room where it happens. So if you're actually passionate about the causes or the beliefs he ran on, even if he took it to new lengths with what he said, which you kind of had to because Trump took it to new places in the campaign, to make change, he's got to be in the game.
And what's your choice, him or Giuliani, who's another wacko
Definitely
like
not
Trump?
Giuliani.
He's got the same personality as Trump. You don't want those two.
But the system bothers me, that someone that I mean, who can you trust in this system? I mean, yeah, that's great, team of rivals, whatever you want to say, but if someone's out there critiquing your character every day, and Romney was an advocate against Donald Trump. Now I'm supposed to believe that all of a sudden all those things he believed, what? They just went by the wayside because you had one dinner with the guy?
Probably not.
It doesn't make sense to me.
That's what he's thinking.
It's not anything that we didn't see. I mean, we saw it with Christie, we saw it with Marco Rubio. Everybody, look, everybody's trying to figure out what to do. Everybody's trying to figure it out. Go ahead, baby.
It became an online, meme, because I don't know if Mitt was enjoying the dinner.
Right.
So
It was good.
So there were a lot of people online had fun with this. There was a guy on Twitter that wrote, Mitt Romney is making a face like he's out to dinner with his mistress and his in-laws just walked in.
That's true.
And then one of my favorites, you in danger, girl. Come on, Oda May. Say it.
No.
Oda May.
What does it say at the beginning of The View? Does it say Oda May? No, it does not. It says Whoopi Goldberg.
Were you thinking it? You in danger,
I was not.
girl?
I just thought, well, okay, you know, this is what you do. This is what you do if you want to play in the game. You have to be able to swallow and take it on the chin. And that's what I guess
there
they're
was
doing.
a little fear in there.
You know, but, you know, and now Donald Trump claims that he scored a big victory for keeping jobs in America. He says he's struck a deal with the Carrier air conditioning firm that will keep them from moving to Mexico, saving almost 1,000 jobs. Now, there's no details of the deal that anyone has seen, but, you know, do you think Americans are going to say, oh, well, see, he's keeping his promise? Or are they going to wonder, what did you have to give up in order to keep folks here?
Yeah. I hope they do that. I think people, though, do just read the headlines and they're thinking, oh my goodness, he's bringing jobs back. But at what cost to the American worker? Because we know now some of the carrier workers make $25 an hour. To recoup the savings that they would have had to go to Mexico, they would have to slash those wages to $5 an hour. So how are they really going to recoup? And I also think that Americans need to look at the fact that Carrier's parent company is United Technologies.
Right.
That's a defense contractor. And they make 10%, I believe, I think the number is right, 10% of their budget from government contracts. It's something like the government pays nearly $1.5 billion of the company's annual research and development spending.
In 2014, they gave the former CEO of that company a $172 million golden parachute. This is why people are angry.
So there you have it.
I'm going to make $5 an hour, and this guy's getting a golden parachute.
You know why people should be angry? Because when America was supposedly great, it was because we became an industrial nation. We made things. We created things that the rest of the world wanted. We manufactured stuff. We stopped manufacturing stuff because our jobs were taken to other countries. Why were they taken? Because business did not want to pay a working wage to people. They didn't care if it was a 6-year-old working in that factory or a 93-year-old working. They didn't care about the hours. So, yeah, you know, lots of jobs have gone places, and Mr. Trump can say, you know, I'm going to make them do this. But you know what? If you don't have stuff to bargain with, and we don't, because we don't manufacture anything.
Well, actually,
small places we do.
There's a factoid someone gave me. It said U.S. factories currently manufacture twice as much as they did in 1984, with 1/3 fewer workers. The problem is that we're losing jobs to robots, not to Mexicans. That's the problem. You're losing it to technology. And you know,
but we don't manufacture anything. We don't, I mean, what is really, we don't manufacture stuff here.
We're a service economy.
New Jersey used to be the place where you know, it was the embroidery capital of the world, you know. We had things that we made that other people wanted, you know. And I'm sorry, when you start making the bottom line more important than the people that are working for you, that's what business is. It's what is the bottom line? What dividends can I give?
Well, how is he going to? I don't know how he's going to correct that. You know, also he saved 1,000 jobs. President Obama saved 1 million jobs by bailing out the auto industry, and people were against that because it was a stimulus.
As conservatives should be. I'm a libertarian. I don't want.
If a million people are working, why aren't you happy about that?
Well, because I don't want the government picking winners and losers. And what I'm afraid of here, I'm afraid that Donald Trump. Why is Donald Trump helping out Carrier and not another corporation? And a lot your businesses.
He's not even in office yet. Give him a minute.
No, if this is happening,
let's see what he does.
Right, but I'm saying if
jobs, Jed, what's your answer as a libertarian?
If his answer is to reduce the corporate tax rate, if his answer is to reduce regulations on businesses, that's fine. But I want to see what's in this deal, because my concern is that why this company? What are these taxpayer-funded subsidies that are going to now be having involvement?
When they reduce regulations, are those health regulations, or like you can endanger your arm, you put it in a machine? Environmental.
Yeah.
So what's so great about reducing
because some of these companies are buried in so much regulation that it costs them so much money that to be in those states or to exist becomes a problem.
But some of those regulations are health regulations.
Some, but they're not talking about removing all regulation. They're saying let's get some of these out of the way for these companies so they can afford to exist.
Who makes the decision which regulations go? I mean, we see what happens when regulations disappear, when the EPA doesn't pay any attention, because we see what happened in Flint, Michigan. All you have to do is look around and see what happens when people don't pay attention to the air quality
Yeah.
and what that does. So now, if you are running the coal industry, you're not paying attention to that because you just want people to go in and get the coal. There's a reason those regulations are in place, not because businesses paid attention, but because they didn't pay attention. And they needed somebody to say, I know, needed somebody to say, hey, listen, you're killing people down here.
I'm with you.
Because we're not, you know, you can't just keep, keep going in, you know?
I'm with you on that.
Say very quickly, the unemployment rate is at an all-time low. It's 4.9%. Donald Trump is saying he's bringing 25 million jobs here. How's he going to do that?
Let's
see it.
wait and see.
Let's see
On
it.
who's behind.
Well, we don't know how we got there.
We
Well,
don't know what
that's
the deal
the thing.
says.
No, we don't know what the deal says, but, you know.
But saving jobs is not the same as creating jobs.
Yeah.
So let's
gotta go. We'll be right back.
Next, could Dr. Jill Stein stop Donald Trump from becoming president? She's live in Hot Topics to talk about whether a recount could count him out. No matter what your view.
The flag represents everything that's good about this country. When you burn it, it is terribly offensive.
This is the place.
You may hate someone's ideas, but you better fight to the death to protect their right to say it.
For your voice to be heard.
That's what the First Amendment is about.
So bring your view tomorrow on ABC. Fashion superstar Tom Ford reveals why Jay-Z wrote a rap dedicated to him later.
Hey now, Dr. Jill Stein is the Green Party candidate who has Donald Trump seeing red after she called for a recount in 3 battleground states. She joins us live from Boston right now. Hey!
Hello, Dr. Stein. Let me ask you a question. You're pushing for recounts in 3 states. It's Joy speaking, by the way. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Now, do you think this can actually overturn the election results? Tell me yes.
So, you know, we don't know, and that's the thing about voting. You don't know unless you look. You don't know unless you actually count the paper ballots. And if you count the paper ballots, then we can be confident about what the number is, and then we'll find out whether there is evidence of tampering, of machine error, and we're using these machines that are quite prone to error, whether there's been hacking, human error. We need to have our confidence restored in what we've got, and we'll see where it takes us. We're not here to help one candidate and hurt another. We're really here to help voters feel like we've got a system that's working for us.
So what exactly are you trying to prove then, if you're not really trying to help one candidate and hurt another? What are you trying
Well, we're looking in 3 states that have some kind of red flags, you could say.
Yeah.
Because the vote was really, really razor thin.
Yeah.
The results went in the opposite direction of what was expected. And they have problems with their voting systems, like they're using machines that are especially tamper-friendly. They're really easy to make mistakes on or to be hacked.
So why wasn't that
for
corrected?
all those reasons, we need...
That should have been corrected before the election, no?
Exactly, it should have. And
A day later,
that's
Donald
the
Trump.
point.
Dr. Stein,
That is the point.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're on the same page here. And going forward, we need to correct this. This isn't rocket science. We shouldn't have to raise millions of dollars after the fact and jump through all kinds of bureaucratic hoops in order to have confidence that the vote is accurate and that it was secure. This should be built in.
Right.
Dr. Stein, Jedediah here. If the roles had been reversed and Donald Trump had won, and I'm sorry, if Hillary Clinton had won by the same margin that Donald Trump won, would you still be doing these recounts, or is it about these candidates and the way the election turned out for you?
So let me just assure you, we had already identified Michigan as having these red flags even before it had a winner. So it could have been Hillary as much as it could have been Donald. So, you know, from my point of view, the Green Party has always done this. We've always stepped up to the plate when there have been concerns about the election and the vote count. This is what we do. When I was asked throughout the election, I was asked, will you stand up and will you call for a recount and jump through the hoops that it takes if there's doubts about the vote? And I always said, yes, I will do that for the sake of our voters, for the sake of a voting system we can believe in, without regard to who is the winner. This is about creating a process that we can trust, because right now, mistrust is rampant. It was running wild in this election. We need to get back to a system that we can trust.
Dr. Stein, this is Sonny Hostin. During the final debate, Donald Trump, though, suggested he might not accept the outcome of the election, and Hillary Clinton called that statement horrifying. So now the Clinton campaign said, although they aren't initiating recounts, they are going to participate if recounts are initiated by others. So what exactly is the Clinton campaign's involvement in this, and when did it start? Yeah, so you'd have to ask them, basically, because we are not coordinating these. After we had filed, after we had actually launched the recount in Wisconsin, the lawyer from the Clinton campaign wrote on a blog that they were going to support this. So there's no formal contact, but our lawyers got in touch just to say, hey, you're welcome. All parties should be. We actually reached out to Donald Trump and to Gary Johnson to say, this isn't about one party or another party. This is about creating a voting system that our American people deserve and that they can all have confidence in.
Okay. Dr. Stein, this is Sarah. You've raised more than $6 million so far in the recount effort, which is almost double what you raised in your presidential campaign. And President-elect Donald Trump said this recount is just a way for Jill Stein to fill her coffers with money, most of which she will never even spend on this ridiculous recount. Others say it's to build a donor list in case you decide to run again. What will happen to the money that's left over?
Good question.
So, you know, there he goes again, kind of creating the facts as on the run. The facts are actually very different. We are raising money into a dedicated account for a recount campaign. The money cannot be used for anything else. Oh. It cannot be used for my campaign. It cannot be used for the Green Party. It can only be used for the recount. And the way this money flooded in. You know, this was the day before Thanksgiving. We thought everybody would be busy doing their family stuff and looking forward to this really wonderful family reunion. We were shocked that after we put out a press release and we opened up the webpage, on the day before, it was like 2 o'clock, the day before Thanksgiving, it's like the floodgates open. It's like the voters were standing up and saying, this is what we're thankful for on Thanksgiving, that we can actually take a step forward to make our election system work for us.
Let me ask you something, Dr. Stein, while I have you here. You ran on the Green Party ticket, and you won only 1% of the popular vote. Now, many Hillary Clinton supporters didn't want you or Gary Johnson, Mr. Where is Aleppo, to run. And they say that you took those key votes away from her. Now, if you hadn't run, if Gary Johnson hadn't won, would Hillary Clinton be our president instead of Donald Trump?
So what I can tell you is that Green voters, polls show, Green voters would not have voted for either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. The vast majority would have stayed home.
They would have stayed home.
And we know that lots of voters out there, lots of Americans stayed home because they didn't like the choices that were kind of forced down our throats. People were screaming for other choices and other voices. They wanted open debates, but the debates are controlled by those same two parties. And so the American people didn't even know that they had other choices.
I don't mean to blame you at all, but look at what we've got. Look at this.
So, Dr. Stein, I hope that what you're saying.
Tell you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that what you're saying is correct. I'm just saying it's woke. I'm hoping that if you feel that way, that we will not have to wait 4 years to hear about what your ideas are or what you want to do. Part of the problem is everybody has a bitch about something, but nobody wants to do anything. So I'm hoping that the next 4 years you will spend making us aware of who the Green Party is and why we should put you in place, and not wait until what I feel is the last minute when it's all sewn up and you can't get in because nobody knows who anybody is. But you'll have to. But we'll be here so you could come. Say you can come back in a couple of years or next year if you want to.
I would love to.
Come on back.
Thank you.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Dr. Jill Stein, and we'll be right back. You know, we talk about the deep stuff here. And so this is no different. Mariah Carey revealed her very specific diet menu to stay in shape. Norwegian salmon, capers, and nothing else. Just Norwegian salmon and the little green things, the capers, and that's it.
Yeah. How many points are in capers, though?
I know.
There aren't many. There aren't many. They're salty, but they're like...
Does it make you full?
They're like baby olives.
Yeah.
It probably makes
They're not baby olives, don't quote me.
It probably makes you hate food, right? I mean, she's got to be cranky. What I find is if I ever do something where I'm doing like a cleanse,
I eat everything and I'm cranky. Has nothing to do with it.
don't you find if you're doing a cleanse, if I decide for a day I'm going to eat really healthy, I eat salad, by the time I'm done with the day, I'm mad. I hate food. I'm like, I don't want to eat anything. You know, if you eat a piece of chocolate, you savor it, you're all, you know, you're happy. You have to throw, you know, a caper and a piece of salmon and maybe like a Klondike bar. You know what I mean? Just throw something in there.
I don't believe that, purely because if you're on a no-carb diet, like, you have no body fat. I'd never survive on it, but to maintain curves and like a zest, you have to eat a little more than that.
There's fat in
healthy
protein
fat.
food. There's
salmon.
So omega-3s, Joy. Those don't hang on your hips. Like, come on. But I think if I could eat,
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
If I could eat like cereal and lobster, I could eat two foods.
Those are your two foods?
Yeah. Because cereal's kind of desserty, but kind of like healthy.
No, actually, I was just told that there are no points in a teaspoon of capers.
There's 23
No Weight Watchers
calories
points.
per little caper. That's a lot of calories.
Yeah, but no points.
And no
No Weight
happiness.
Watchers
No
points
points
and no
and no
happiness.
happiness.
I don't know. But then it makes the choices easier, right? Like if you decide every day I'm going to have collard greens and catfish, which is probably what I could live
Ooh,
on.
I like that.
Yeah, I could eat collard greens and catfish every day, and there are no choices. And then you just, you know, it's
What would
easy.
you eat? You eat everything, but could you whittle it down to 2?
Yeah, with French fries and pasta.
That's right.
I got it easy, right?
That I like.
Yeah.
What about you, Whoopi?
It.
Could you
Sorry?
do 2 foods?
I only do 2 foods.
What are your 2 foods?
I'm not telling you.
Potato chips.
But there is another
Like
diet
potato
making
chips.
headlines. 117.
Potato chips.
Who? What?
Potato chips and capers.
I don't understand capers. It's not something. I only put things in my mouth that are friendly to me.
Okay.
You might want to roll that back a little bit so I can get to the top of this story. Thank you. Another diet making headlines is 117-year-old Emma Moreno's, the oldest person in the world, who credits her longevity, hold on, to eating 2 raw eggs every single day.
Disgusting. That's disgusting.
I'm not making her do it. That's what she wants to eat.
That's just even
She's
gross.
Italian. I've never heard of that, of any Italian. What are you going to have? Spaghetti salmonella. I mean, I've never heard of any Italian eating raw eggs like that, ever.
Well, Emma does.
She's an Italian
She's an
woman.
Italian woman. This is the first.
That's what boxers do. That. People
Like
work
Rocky
out.
Balboa,
they
but
do.
like
We'll
not.
be right
Hulk
back.
Hogan used to do that.
Yeah.
Sarah.
I have something so heartwarming and special to share right now. Everyone knows that I'm crazy about my pup Trixie, who I rescued 13 years ago. So finding forever homes for rescues is near and dear to my heart, and I have found the perfect gift for anyone that has that same soft spot. My friend and very talented photographer, Richard Phibbs, makes portraits of dogs who are up for adoption, and his new book, Rescue Me, is full of their heartbreaking backstories and the happy endings when they're finally adopted. 100% of the profits go to the Humane Society of New York, and members of our audience are getting a copy.
Yay!
And he is here. Yes, we've actually got Richard right here. And next to him is a woman named Sandra who does all the heart work at Humane Society and fights for these dogs every day of her life. But the sweetest part of this is he lost a dog about 4 years ago, and it broke his heart. And he said to fill that.
Passed away.
His dog passed away.
Not just lost.
No,
he passed away. Okay.
He's no longer with us, but to fill the hole in his heart, he's a high fashion artistic photographer. He started donating his time, and almost all of these dogs have been rescued as a result. And so it's just the most beautiful.
Once you make the dog sort of interesting and you personify, you sort of like put a focus on the dog, people want to rescue it.
Well, they're portraits, trying to do a portrait of a dog and actually give them the dignity that they deserve.
And you capture their spirit, their personality.
And that's the thing, so many people, they go to breeders, and there's so many. I rescued all my dogs, and I lost my dog, Madison, recently. It feels like yesterday, but I encourage people to just adopt dogs as opposed to going to breeders, because there are so many fantastic dogs out there.
What happens to
buy a book.
Those dogs need to have a home.
Just do your homework. People should do your homework. Also, just do your homework about the dog you want to buy or adopt, because not every dog, just because you see it, doesn't mean it's the correct dog for you. And what ends up happening is people dump dogs. So make sure that you do a little bit of homework and make sure that it's going to work for you. If you got 14 kids, that little Chihuahua might not be the right dog for you.
If you go to a place like the Humane Society, they help you with that.
Yes, they do.
They do a good job of making sure these dogs are not going to come back.
You can foster them for a little while to make sure that it's,
There's so many ways to help, and if it's just a book because you're not an animal, it's a great coffee table book. It's a stocking stuffer.
And not that I want to ever take a spotlight off a dog.
No, don't.
But there's a lot of cats need you too.
Just saying.
A lot of cats.
There are cats in here too.
All right. I just want to make sure, because a good cat is hard to find. And I guess. Oh, well, I love this. See, I like that.
We don't forget about our dear cats.
No.
That's your next book.
We've photographed hundreds of cats too.
Oh,
So this is just, we've bunnies, birds.
Yes.
Anything that the Humane Society.
How cute is he?
The Humane Society takes care of all animals. All animals.
I didn't know that.
And we're the kind of animals that have to go. So we're going to go. These bitches are going, and we'll be right back.
Why won't superstar designer Tom Ford dress Melania or Hillary? The answer may surprise you. Next. Yeah, it may be getting cold out there.
My God!
But this week, things are super hot with more sizzling hot topics. You know it. Plus, what's the messy truth about Van Jones? Well, he's about to tell you. And get this, we're hanging with Holland Taylor.
He is one of the most renowned high-end designers in the world who has so much street cred, Jay-Z raps about him. Now Tom Ford is showing off his cinematic style as the writer and director of the haunting new thriller Nocturnal Animals. Please welcome the amazing, fabulous Tom Ford. So Jay-Z,
I love this audience.
It's all for you, baby. That was Jay-Z's hit song, Tom Ford. And not everybody gets to, write about Tom Ford. How did that happen, Tom Ford?
It's one of those lucky things. Jay and I are friends, and he texted me or emailed me one day and said, I've read the song about you. And I was like, wow, great. I was waiting to hear what kind of song he had written about me.
Yes.
I'm a lucky person. That was one of those things that just literally fell from the universe.
You've worked for all the top design, the top design houses, Gucci and Yves Saint Laurent, and and a lot of those.
And I have my own now.
And you have your own, yes, a very beautiful perfume also, I believe.
Quite a few,
yes.
25 of them.
Are you wearing that, by the way? Because you
I'm wearing
smell
a
amazing.
new one that hasn't been released yet.
Oh.
Well,
I'm glad you like it.
Oh, it's really
Let me ask you something. We have a new First Lady, Melania Trump. She's
Yes.
quite beautiful, and she's thin.
Yes.
She's going to look great in the clothes, no?
I don't know. I was asked to dress her quite a few years ago, and I declined.
Why?
Well, she's not necessarily my image, and also the First Lady. Other than the fact that I'm a Democrat and voted for Hillary, and I'm very sad and disappointed that she's not in office. But other than that, even had Hillary won, she shouldn't be wearing my clothes. They're too expensive. And I don't mean that in a bad way, and they're not artificially expensive. It's how much it costs to make these things. But I think to relate to everybody.
Well, Michelle Obama, she wore expensive clothes.
Michelle I dressed once when she was going to Buckingham Palace for dinner with the Queen. And I thought it was appropriate. I live in London, and so that made sense.
I see.
And it was an honor to
So you don't think Melania should wear expensive clothes?
I'm going to leave that to Melania.
You're known for pushing your boundaries in fashion, design, and now in both of your films, which original, A Single Man and now Nocturnal Animals. As a child, were you someone that always colored outside the lines?
Colored outside the lines, yeah. I was one of those kids. I think my parents would go out to a movie and I'd rearrange the living room from the moment I could push the furniture. Yes, I'm afraid, had a very strong point of view.
No, that's a great strength.
My son has it too. I think we're going to grow up kind of like this. I don't know where he got it, but he's...
How old is he now?
He's 4.
Oh.
And believe me, he's already started moving the furniture.
I was just going to say, the house is different every time.
And you grew up in a ranch in New Mexico.
I grew up in Texas when I was young, and then when I was 11, we moved to New Mexico in Santa Fe.
Well, the child is growing up as the fabulous son of
Well,
you.
no, I keep that. He's very grounded, and I'm very aware that he's growing up in a life of privilege. He's never been photographed. When he's 18, if he wants to be a public person, he can be a public person. He has chores. He gets an allowance. He knows how to even load the dishwasher at this point. Those things are important.
Yes.
They're very important.
Very good.
So here's what I wanted to talk to you about, because the last time I saw you, I think I gushed all over you about Single Man, which I thought was
amazing.
Amazing.
That was great.
Yeah, stunning.
Good film.
And so it's been about 7 years.
I know. Where did it go? I had hoped to make a film every 3 or 4 years, every 2 or 3 years, and I still hope to make a film every 2 or 3 years. I think you have to find, filmmaking for me is the purest. I'm a commercial fashion designer. It is an artistic endeavor, but I am commercially minded when I do it. Whereas film for me is the most purely artistic expression that I have. So you have to find something that speaks to you. And what spoke to me about this story is that it's about finding people in your life that you love and not letting them go. I'm a very loyal person. I've been with the same man for the last 30 years.
Oh, and, I love that.
Nice.
30 years. Thank you. I don't let people go. And this is a cautionary tale about what can happen to you.
You know something? I don't think it's just luck. You're just talented.
Oh, you're sweet.
Really?
Thank you.
Joy's just discovering this.
Well, no, listen. The way he talks sounds like it's luck. You're very talented.
Well, I work hard, and I enjoy that. I think if you enjoy what you do, if you're passionate about what you do, you're better at it. And I love what I do.
Now, this, just to say, there is such a creepy element. I'm not going to give anything away, but there is a scene. Well, I falsely thought when you don't let go of people, I was like, oh, there's like love in here. Oh. Okay. Yep. No joke. There's one scene that lasts so long where my heart is racing. Thank you. Yes. Where I'm waiting for relief and waiting for relief, and it never comes. This cast is out of this world. Laura Linney, Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Shannon, Amy Adams. Now, I think we do have a little clip we want to show.
She did love it.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe she loved him for a second. You have to see this movie. You have to see this movie.
Still loves him.
Because love.
She was a victim. She was a victim of her own insecurity.
Yeah.
And she was a victim of our culture in certain parts of the world that still says to women, this is what you should be.
to have done what she did the way she did it. That doesn't show love. That shows predatory behavior.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
You have to go see this movie. So, you know, I hope you do a movie every 2 years because you would be back here more
or
often.
sooner.
I'd like to be back here more often.
Well, see,
You'll
you
get
like
the
that.
love.
Yes. So thank you, Tom Ford. Go see. I'm telling you,
Oh,
I'm not
it's
playing
so
with you. Go
freaky.
see this movie, Nocturnal Animals. It's in select cities right now and everywhere December 9th. Do yourself a favor. You will be talking about this for days. Yeah, take a friend. Cause you'll be like, oh my God, I don't believe that. All right, we'll be right back.
Trump came out on top.
We're back. Welcome back. I don't know what just happened, but there was a lot of movement at the table. I don't know where people were going. People going like this, doing the wave. What the hell?
She was spinning.
What was going on?
Joy, when she gets upset, she's like, and look where we are. And like she spins in her chair. She's like,
Stein,
yeah. That's her. She dramatizes. People say I'm dramatic. Joy like is all bodies, and she
not over
like
it yet.
She's still sitting Shiva over the
It's
election.
getting worse and worse. Every day I hear worse news from him.
But that's why everybody has to pay attention, though, right? Because, you know, listen, it is what it is. We've lived with crazy before. Maybe not as crazy in our lifetime as this might be, but you know what? That's why we are the voters.
Yeah.
We get to make these decisions. Sometimes we make great decisions. Sometimes we make decisions where you go, what just happened? You know? But it's all on us. So, we want you to have a great day in spite of everything. In spite of everything. And we want you to take a little time to enjoy
They're gonna
the
have
view.
some raw eggs.
The Ghostly Little Tale, A Christmas Carol, is coming to York's Strand Capitol Theater for one show only.
Nocturnal Animals. It's in select cities right now and everywhere December 9th. Do yourself a favor. You will be talking about this for days. Yeah, take a friend. Cause you'll be like, oh my God, I don't believe that. All right, we'll be right back.
Trump came out on top.
We're back. Welcome back. I don't know what just happened, but there was a lot of movement at the table. I don't know where people were going. People going like this, doing the wave. What the hell?
She was spinning.
What was going on?
Joy, when she gets upset, she's like, and look where we are. And like she spins in her chair. She's like,
Stein,
yeah. That's her. She dramatizes. People say I'm dramatic. Joy like is all
over the
bodies,
election.
and she
I'm not
like
over it yet.
She's still sitting Shiva over the
It's
election.
getting worse and worse. Every day I hear worse news from him.
But that's why everybody has to pay attention, though, right? Because, you know, listen, it is what it is. We've lived with crazy